blocking yourself. You've been a hindrance to you. And it's all because one thing. What's that one thing? You won't forgive. See, the thing is, you think that you can move forward and still hold a grudge. You think that you can go far and still hold a grudge. The answer is no. Your land won't be healed. You can't move forward if you're still holding a grudge, if you still can't forgive. You are the same image of God and the likeness of God. So if God won't heal a land until he forgives, then what makes you think that things around you will be healed if you won't forgive? God said when he forgives, then he'll heal your land. He said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. He says, where? Then I will hear from heaven, forgive them of their sins. Then he said he'll do what? Heal the land. Now, the reason why God will be able to heal the land after he forgives you, because when God forgives you, ain't no more record of it. God says when he forgives you of your sins, he tosses in the sea of forgiveness. So if anything tries to come up, God said, no, it's not there. You say she was a hoe? Let me see. She ain't no hoe. Ain't got no. You say he's a hoe? Let me look. No, he asked for forgiveness. I don't see no record of that. And we ain't doing that. So what we do, we allow the enemy to trick us. And how is that? We'll say that we've forgiven somebody. But as soon as the enemy bring back that demonic memory recall of what they did to you, you entertain it. And then if they want to be in your life, or if they want to invite you somewhere, there you are looking at what they did. Therefore what? You ain't healed. That's why when you hear their name, you feel a certain kind of way. Your heart clenches up. It does. You feel a certain way when you hear their name. You feel a certain way when they come around you. You do. You feel a certain way when you hear that they're doing well. Who am I talking to today? I ain't telling you something I don't know. God had to work on me to forgive people. You got to forgive right. You got to forgive righteously. When you forgive somebody, you ain't doing it for them. You're doing it to save your soul. And when you forgive somebody, that means you no longer entertain what they did. Because when you're in that place, now you're healed. You can hear their name all day long. You can see them and won't feel anything. You can hear that they're doing well. And you'll be so happy for them. Anytime you can't be happy for somebody that did something wrong to you, you haven't forgiven. You haven't really forgiven. And trust me, there's some place in your life that's out of whack. It is. So ask yourself, have I really forgiven them? And if your answer is yes, that means that you no longer entertain the demonic memory recall that the enemy tries to bring to your thoughts about what they said, about what they did, right? Some of y'all still dealing with infidelity issues. Maybe your spouse cheated on you and you haven't been able to forgive. Let me tell you to look at it like this. Didn't you cheat on God? I believe you did. All of us have. All of us have cheated on God. I remember God in his word, he was saying how Israel, the children of Israel were whorish. They were adulterous and adulterers, right? Which means what? They were with other people. In other words, other gods. And God said, I'm jealous. You ain't cheated on me. You over there worshiping idols. Got your crystals. Got your sage. You worshiping your husband. You worshiping your wife. And God said, why you cheating on me? And then when God brought it to your attention, you realized it. And you said, God, please forgive me. And guess what God did? All right, I forgive you. And ask God if he look at you as if you are whore to him anymore. He doesn't. Ask him, do he look at you as if you cheated on him? He doesn't. He sees you in his righteousness now. So God said, you got to be able to forgive. That's why in the word it says what? God, forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors, right? Which means what? You can't ask God to forgive you if you ain't forgiving your brother or your sister. So listen, learn to forgive and God will forgive you. Because if you ain't forgiven, don't you trick yourself and think you're going to heaven, because you're going straight to hell. You are. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. If you won't forgive and you think you got this life mapped out, you're a fool. You're going straight to hell. And I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I'm trying to save some of y'all souls. Just like God was saying, girl, let me save your soul. You ain't really forgiving over there. And God had to work on me. He did. God said, I forgave you and your silliness and your folliness. So forgive your brother and sister. And when that enemy try to bring up what they did or what they used to do, you bring that thought into captivity under the obedience of God. What's the obedience of God? The truth of God. That when you have forgiven them, that means what? It's wiped clean. You ain't going to bring that back up, and you ain't going to treat them as if they did it, as if what was done. You're not. You're going to treat them with the love of God, which means what? That's true forgiveness. So stop blocking yourself. The reason why it ain't worked out yet, because you still got a little disgruntledness in your heart. Okay? Clean your heart. Ask God to purge it. Ask Him to purify it. God said this heart is deceitful. This heart loves to hold on to stuff that would keep you from God. And God said you got to abide in Him. Because if you don't, you ain't nothing. You ain't going to bring forth fruit. You're not, if you're not abiding in God. So you got to make sure this heart is right and these hands are clean. And forgive the way your Father forgives. Toss it into the sea of forgiveness. A lot of people say, well, I forgive, but I never forget. Who was that talking? God forgets. And if we're in His likeness and His image, then we're going to forget what they did too. You're going to forgive and forget. You're going to love them so much, you're going to say, huh, they did what to me? I don't remember that. You will have no recollection of it. Why? Because you gave it to God. That's why it should be easy for you to go to a person if there's an ought, right? That's what God said. If you have an ought against your brother and sister, you don't go run and tell that to everybody but them. You go to them, right? You go to them and speak to them about it. It should be easy, not hard. It should be easy for you to go to them. Why? Because you want to make sure that what your heart is right, so that you won't be blocking yourself. A lot of y'all blaming the enemy, but it's really you. It's you. It's you believing his whispers. It's you entertaining his thoughts, the enemy's thoughts in your head. And that's why you still have yet to forgive righteously. God is saying forgive righteously. Stop blocking yourself so you can enter into the door that he has already opened for you that is great and effectual. That's what he wants you to do. He just wants you to get everything that he has for you. He wants you to have your inheritance. But ain't no way you can get the inheritance of God with rocking out with the spirit of unforgiveness. You must forgive. And forgive like your Father. Now get it, got it good. I hope so. But if you didn't get that thing, rewind it, watch again. And if you didn't get it again, rewind it, watch again. If you didn't get it again, rewind and watch again, okay? Just keep watching this until you get it in your head. Like my mom said, get it through your thick head. Get it through your head. That in order for your land to be healed, in order for things to be healed around you, in order for things to be restored and repaired, in order for things to come into fruition concerning your manifestation, forgiveness, the righteous way, has to be first. Because God says, when he hears you, he forgives you, then the land is healed. So you got to forgive like God so that your land will be healed, so that you'll get the manifestation, so that you'll receive all the good goods and yum yums that God has for you, okay? Stop holding on to grudges. It's over. Let it go. Don't block yourself no longer. Stop using other people, places, and things for excuses for you to say this is the reason why I haven't gone forth. It ain't nobody's fault but yours. You can't hold people responsible because they can't love the way you love. Don't expect to receive from people what they can't give you yet. See, God has already been working on you to love with his love. So if a person can't give it, if they can't give you God's love back, don't be mad with them. God says what? Continue to do good to them. Bless those that curse you, right? Pray for them, right? That's what you're supposed to do. God knows that people are in places where they can't give you back what you give. But here's the thing. You ain't giving them love to receive it. You're giving it to be obedient to God. I'm going to go. Okay, I'm going to go. Y'all get that? You're not doing for people. You're not praying for people. You're not blessing people. You're not being good to them so that you can get it back. You're doing it so that you can stay in the obedience of who? Of God. And if you're not staying in the obedience of God, then what did God say? Rebellion. Being rebellious is as of witchcraft. And to be stubborn is what? Is as it is of idolatry. Right? Idolatry and iniquity. Did you hear me? So listen, forgive y'all. That's all I came on to say. It took me 10 minutes, right at 11 minutes to tell y'all. But y'all, please forgive. Because I want y'all to get what God has for you. Because I sure want to get what God has for me. Forgive the righteous way. Okay, I got it. If you didn't get it, watch this thing again. Pray about it. Fast about it. Humble yourself about it, okay? But in the meantime, between time, if you take just a little bit of what I'm telling you and apply to your life, this your ability, you won't ever have to mask a smile. Why? Because your smiles will always be genuine. Be blessed, stay blessed. Be blessed, stay blessed. Y'all know what's coming next.